Good night, greetings. I'm waiting until I have about 10 persons before I start talking about tonight's topic. Question is, would you, could you do it? Could you sponsor somebody from another country? What would it do? What would it take for you to marry somebody from another country, regardless? I don't care, Jamaica, Africa, wherever. What would it take for you to marry someone and go through the whole period or situation of sponsoring someone? And no judgment here. So if you wouldn't do it, tell me why you wouldn't do it. And if you would, tell me why you would. See, I'm reading an article in the Star, the Jamaica Star, about a guy, I believe his name is Jay. And he was a part of this program. I didn't see that program, but I know of it. I mean, I didn't see it when Jay was on, but currently he sits in customs and immigration waiting to be deported because his fiance says he cheated on her. So this is a Black guy from Jamaica. He's 20 years old and is married to I think he's engaged. I don't think they got married, to a 40-year-old woman, white woman from the United States. And he's currently waiting to be deported. And he's asking for, well, his friend is asking for us to contribute to Jay's GoFundMe page. Would you, first of all, donate to this page to help him get a lawyer so he could stay in the United States of America? Do you think the 40-year-old woman has every right to say, this is not working out, I'm not going to marry you and allow you to stay? So the idea is he cheated on her with a teenager, and then I think he cheated again in some public washroom with another person, and so she's called it quits. So that inspired the topic tonight, to ask you, would you be able to sponsor somebody? Would you be interested to marry someone and bring them to Canada or England or the United States? If yes, why? And if no, why? Anyone? I'm thinking these kind of topics would be better if I gave people the chance to call in, but I'm working on it. Anybody? There's 3 persons here. Good night. Are you shy? Do you want to say anything about the topic? Should the 20-year-old boy or young man be deported to Jamaica? Should he be sent back? What do you have to say about women who get involved with these young boys, intention to, get married and build a life together? Nobody interested in this topic? If you're not, I'm not going to sit here and just talk by myself. I'm going to come back because I don't think anyone wants or likes this topic. If you do, I'm going to leave this up. If anyone else finds this and is interested, hi, Queen J. Okay, I was about to log off because I'm thinking perhaps there's not enough persons here to have the conversation. Do you think there's something wrong with a 40-year-old woman getting involved with a 20-year-old, Queen J? And so why? Is a 20-year-old, is it possible? Because the thing is, when it comes to women, we always expect, hi, Queen J, I think there's a bit of a double standard, because if a 40-year-old man decides to date a 20-year-old girl, I don't think folks will have any problem with that. I'm not saying I agree, because that 40-year-old woman could be that 20-year-old's mom. But it's the same is true for the man too, that he marries his 20-year-old, and a lot of younger women marry older men and it works out. But should Jay, I think his name is Jay, should Jay be sent back to Jamaica? True. Women are usually more mature, but do you think that could work? Was it possible? And I don't care if she's white. I don't, it's not, has nothing to do with her white or black. I just don't like anyone deceived, whether they're black or white. And love is love. People fall in love with whomever they wish to fall in love with. I saw a little clipping with her when he was in Jamaica. She said she was not worried about what he did when he was in Jamaica because he's young. She wasn't there, but I think she expected him to be more faithful to her. Hi, Teresa. A lot of it is going on, Teresa, of course. Like, I think older women, especially single women, are checking out all their options. And these days, being with a younger guy sometimes is it. Usually a big age gap with a woman, meaning the woman is much older than the man. Usually it never works out. Why do you say that? Why do you say that, Queen J? Like, do you have experience? Do you have experience? Have you known anyone? Because I do know a lot of people who do get into these relationships, and some work and some don't. Do you think it's an age gap, or is it because individuals don't know each other so well when they get married? Because see, when you're dating somebody in a regular situation, you're dating somebody, and the age thing doesn't really come up when you live in the same city and you're getting to know each other. But when there's a long distance relationship, a lot of people that are in long distance relationship end up getting married so that they can get to know each other, so that they can get to, bring the partner close to them. I dated a Rasta Jamaican guy for 3 years. I'm 62. He's like, really, Teresa? Thank you, Teresa. Welcome. Hey, Apple. Bless up. Tonight we're getting into mix up, Apple. And I'm asking, I don't know if you saw the article in the Star where this guy Jay is currently sitting in custom and immigration waiting to be deported from the USA because the 90-day fiance thing didn't work out. And now his friends are trying to get money to keep him in the States, to get a lawyer to keep him in the United States. He's saying he's afraid to go back home and all of that. Read it to the Star when you get off live. But my question is, and Queen Jay was saying earlier that the big age gap usually causes a problem. And Teresa is saying that she dated a Rasta guy. So let me see the difference. Rasta guy for 3 years, I'm 62, he's 55. So that makes him what, 7 years younger than you? 55 and 550. 55 and 560, sorry, to 7 years difference. That's not much of a big age difference, Teresa. Yeah, that wasn't much. So what do you think was the reason why things didn't work out? Bless up, Clive. I'm good. I'm just talking, Clive, about the show called The 90-Day Fiancé. And talking about this guy who's scheduled to be deported to Jamaica, this 20-year-old guy who, yeah, he's married. He was engaged to this 40-year-old girl, and she's deporting him. Oh, really? That's a typical thing. I have a story. I don't know these individuals, but they're relatives of mine. And that man had something like 15-year relationship with a female that lived here. I think it's here in Canada. And she would go back and forth for 15 years, even though he was living with a baby mama. Oh, so Teresa, where was the Rasta guy that you met with the age difference? Was he in the US with you, or was he in another country? So this guy Jay is now waiting to be deported. First of all, should he be deported? He was caught cheating, apparently cheated with a teenage girl. He's a little bit older than a teenager himself. And then I think he cheated in a public washroom with someone else. You read the article. Let me see if I can find it. Okay. Jamaican Jay Smith, the 90-day fiancé star, who is now in the U.S. Immigration and Custom Enforcement custody and is facing deportation back home, appears to be seeking the public assistance in getting him the funds needed to retain a lawyer. Should people be donating to things like this? Like, is this an emergency? Should Jay be able to stay in the US, or should he be sent back? And anybody here, would you do it? Would you go to else and marry someone and bring them to wherever you live? Oh, the topic we're talking about, that Jamaican guy, Apple, that is in customs and immigration. I don't know if you're asking what's the topic, but he's been held in immigration right now to be deported because his fiance is not interested to marry him anymore because apparently he cheated on her. It depends. Would you, okay, after the experience? So is it the age difference, Teresa? Is it the age difference, or is just personality? Because a lot of times we chalk it up to the age. We're saying it's because the woman is older, why it didn't work out. Okay, so you would do it. You would do it, Queen, but you have to get to know him for a little while. Of course, people pretend. You deport him, Teresa. I don't know. I think if I'm engaged to this person and he's showing his behavior, he's cheating on me before I marry him, I don't think it would be fair for that lady too. Apple, the topic is, would you marry somebody from Jamaica and bring them to the United States? You meet a very hot, very sexy girl. She's very smart and she's just, turning up your things. Would you go to Jamaica and marry her and sponsor her to the States? So you went to his home. He invited you to live in the New Jersey. You could be a serial killer. Just like if you met the person in the same city as you do. Hello, mind over matter. Bless up, bless up. Tonight we're talking about asking the question, what would it take for you to go overseas and marry someone and bring them to live with you wherever you are, whether the States, wherever, America, Canada, US, I'm sorry, Africa, I don't care where you are. Would you, for the sake of love? I hope my friend told Jamaican man in Jamaica, she married him. Did it work out, Teresa? Yeah, I'm talking about the guy. I just saw the article today and I was very curious about checking it out. So at the end of my day, I checked it out and I have mixed feelings about it. So you're saying some women are desperate. Now this woman, she's 40 years old, 40-year-old white lady. I don't know if she went to Jamaica and met him there, more than likely. And then, she brought him to the States and on the 90-day visa business. And he cheated on her. I don't want to judge the situation tonight. I don't want to give moral judgments on it. I just want to say, would you do it? I'm not going to say, oh, she's stupid to do it, or I'm not going to put any judgment on that, because love is love, and sometimes people are adventurous. They're willing to try. And I'm saying, if after you find out you're engaged to somebody, you find out that he's unfaithful, would you go ahead and still give that person paper to remain in the country? I wouldn't do that for sure. Oh, they're happy now. Okay. I mean, it depends. I know a lot of people who marry people who they know in the same city. Some people actually grew up together and then they get married and it doesn't work out. I know men who are 15 or 20 years older than their wives and it works out. So sometimes maybe because I was in a long distance relationship for 5 years, I think. For 5 years. And I was also involved with someone who was younger than myself, even though I didn't set out to do that. And in fact, when I met my partner, I had no idea he was that age because he looked older. But I know it can work. I know it takes a lot of commitment though in that long distance relationship situation. And I also think that the person who's getting involved with that person overseas, even if you're not thinking it, the people around you, your family, your friends, they're going to remind you every chance they get that this person is just using you. And how do you determine if this is the case? Okay, so do you have a thing for fierce king for Rastaman first of all? Teresa, what made you fall in love with this guy? Of course, mind over matter. If the person cheated on me, it doesn't even matter if it was 90 days, even if it was a year. The moment he cheated on me and we're not married, I don't think I would continue with that because I would not be able to trust that person. Good evening, divine rebel. Would you marry somebody and sponsor them? Or is that too risky? Oh, he was passionate. Okay, let me tell a story. I met this lady um, a while back. She's Canadian and she met this guy from Africa. When she met him, she didn't like him. She wasn't attracted to him. And, he just didn't have anything. He was just starting in his life in Canada. But she said he was very smart, very, very smart. So she would go to he used to do poetry at cafes and so on. She'd go listen to him do his poems, and she found it very sexy and very attractive. And eventually they got involved. And after she got pregnant, he dumped her for a white girl. So they didn't get married, but she was about to marry him. She got pregnant. He dumped her for a white woman that he met at the university that he was attending. And she pretty much lost her mind. She literally lost her mind. She had the baby, and I remember going out. She introduced me to this book called White Oleander. If any of you ever get a chance to read that book, if you haven't already read it, she introduced me to that book because she was at that place. She literally lost her mind, and she was actually thinking of killing this guy. I had to talk sense in her because she had another child too. I had to say to her, I know you're hurt, but you have to think about your children. And I think the thing is, and she made me read that book because the female in that book did not like that man either. She wasn't in love with that guy, but she liked his personality. She liked a lot of things about him, and she got involved for those reasons. And then the person dumped her. And I think this is what's happening. Yeah, he dumped for the white girl. And she said she pretty much cleaned him up and he didn't smell right when she met him. And he was pretty much just always wearing one outfit. He just came to Canada, was trying to get a better life for himself and to help his family back in Africa. And she fixed him up real nice. He studied university and he dumped her. So I think a lot of times, people are falling in love too soon. And I don't think it's always the age difference. It's the fact that you just don't know that person. I don't let men on the come up. He's not going to step on my shoulder, then dash me. I know that's very difficult. But, okay, let's just say the guy doesn't really have much because he's just starting life. And you have a little bit more. Sometimes individuals are in that situation. Women are in that situation. They help the guy out and it turns out to be that rock for them later on. It's hard to predict these things. Oh, okay. I had the feeling when I went to his beautiful home on Christmas. I saw her suitcase there. He was ready to put me on a Christmas night. I don't drive. Wow, Teresa, that's hard. Okay, so you're happy now. That's good. He wasn't meant for you, Teresa. You live and learn. The relative that I don't really know, but I hear of, literally strung this Canadian woman on for 15 years, sent him money, gave him all kinds of stuff. He built his home. But she was kind of naive though, because she knew that his baby mama was living at the house. I don't know what she told herself, that they're just good friends and that there's the woman is staying at the house. I don't know. Sometimes women are not thinking it through. So sometimes I don't think it's just the age group. I think when individuals come from developing world or different developing countries, you have to think to yourself, what, why me? Why are you in love with me? And you have to remember to guys are looking for opportunity just like girls. And they'll go on the internet. They'll go to Facebook or they go to Instagram or go to these dating sites and they're going to come and tell you what you want to hear. I don't play Russian roulette with my life. If he is starting out, he will have to man up and struggle on his own. He will respect you for allowing him to be a man. So you're not saying that you wouldn't date someone from Jamaica, for example, or from a developing country. You're just saying that he's gonna have to present his stuff. He's gonna have to put his thing on the table. Is that what you're saying, mind over matter? It's not about his age, but you're saying that you're not getting involved with someone who you're gonna start from scratch with. If I'm right, tell me. Now we are in a spiritual connection, me and my new friend. We are very interested. We are very interested, and he's 5 years older than me. Okay, I'm very happy for you, Teresa. I don't think it was just the age difference. I just think it's that person was just not someone. Good night, Natalie. It was not someone where Natalie, we're talking about long distance relationships and if you would do it or even marry someone younger and then sponsor them. And the person doesn't have to, because there are guys who are in Jamaica who go to Cayman Island or go to another Caribbean island. Would you do it? Would you marry somebody that you barely know and sponsor them anywhere? Excuse me. If he's looking for a come up, I will not date him. How are you gonna know if the guy's looking for a come up? Some of these guys are very slick. Some guys, when you meet them, you actually think that they got money because they will pose off in their friend's vehicle and they'll borrow their friend's house and bring you there and on a date, and you think that's their place. When you live overseas and you go home to visit, the guy could set up this thing real nice. Long distance to work. Okay. Are you Natalie? Where is your? I forget where you're living in the Caribbean, right, Natalie? And where's your partner living, or where is he from? Okay, Divine Rebel. Let me go back up. It can years. I guess it's to take years to get to know someone. I dated two guys who took their time showing their true colors. I'll take singledom. I'm good because I trust me. Okay. Sometimes you just have to take a break from dating. It's okay to just love upon yourself and wait to see if there's a right person. Good evening, Andrew. I can't remember if I said good evening. Andrew, would you marry someone from another country and bring them to wherever you are? And would you date a younger woman or an older woman? And the big question is, would you donate to, I think his name is Jay's GoFundMe, so help him get a lawyer to stay in the United States? No broke, busted, or struggling. No broke, busted, or struggling. Really? Oh, that's not nice. Mind over matter. Even though it should be your choice to say that. But when my partner, he wasn't, I wouldn't say he was broke or busted, but he certainly wasn't, he was struggling like anybody else. I looked at his potential. I looked at his work habits and his work ethics. I looked at his character, and I did my own investigation. I was a detective and I did my own search because I don't really believe in taking a man's word for it. And I don't believe in taking their family's word for it because, truthfully speaking, there are people in Jamaica who know that the man is lying. His family will cover for him and deceive a female overseas. but there's ways to, but I don't think, truthfully speaking, I did it, so I can't say I wouldn't. I did get involved with someone who was in Jamaica, and we were in a long distance relationship. What I do know is I would not marry somebody and immediately sponsor them to live with me overseas. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't, even if we got married, because we did get married very soon. But I wasn't going to marry this person and then right away sponsor them. I wouldn't do that. Because if that's all the person wanted, it's very easy to pretend for, but you can't pretend for too long. And I think a lot of the people that get married to these persons, whether male or female, and then they find out that they got duped, the signs were there. Okay, I see what you're saying. Mind over matter. Andrew, would you date someone younger or older? Would you marry and sponsor someone to your country where you're living? Or would you want to date someone who lives overseas and hope that they would sponsor you? And would you just marry somebody for an opportunity? Because people are doing that a lot. I think one of the problems that some people that are getting married to folks back home or wherever they are and bringing them to North America or Europe, they're not realizing that sometimes a lot of these individuals are looking for an opportunity. And I don't want to kick somebody who's looking for an opportunity, but I'm saying to myself, if you're going to seek help from somebody by going all the way to marrying that person, giving them the impression that you're going to stay with them, and then you're not even smart enough to know that if you show your colors too soon, they're not going to go ahead with it or they're going to deport you. Then, I can't feel sorry for you. So I don't feel sorry for Jay. I don't feel sorry for Jay because I'm sure he understands the situation. He wasn't even married to the lady. He didn't have papers to remain in the States, and he was already cheating. So, Natalie, you didn't answer. Is that too personal? Where is your partner from? Are you willing to marry someone that you're in a distance relationship with? And is it more difficult for a long distance relationship to work out as opposed to one where the person lives in the same city as you? Anyone? Teresa, you sound happy with someone that you're dating now. I forgot where you said the person is from. Do it. I want you to type in the comment section. Let's just say I was a single person and I was considering going to marry someone and bringing them to live with me in another place. Would you say do it or don't do it? That's pretty much what I'm trying to ask tonight. Do it or don't do it. And right now, as we speak, there's a few folks that have messaged me privately and asked me to set them up and a good guy or a good girl from Jamaica. Because there are a lot of people who are interested in dating Jamaican people, in spite of all that you hear. And I would consider it. I would consider hooking people up. I'm not responsible for how the relationship goes, if it deepens or if it doesn't work out. It's your responsibility to do your research too. But in spite of all the negative things that I hear, I would, if I knew someone was a nice guy and I knew a girl was a very good person, I would set up those people in a long distance relationship. It's up to them to do their research. It's up to them to, do their background checks. It's up to them, due process. It's not my responsibility to check these things out. However, in the past, I've been asked to hook people up, and I usually take my sweet time, not just examine the person who live overseas, but the one in Jamaica as well. And don't believe that it's just a guy or the girl from Jamaica who can possibly cause problem when they get together, when they get married and they migrate. Because sometimes the person who live in America or Canada or the UK or wherever, they can have this kind of power struggle because they live overseas. They will try to be very controlling of those who live in Jamaica or live wherever they live. And they're always reminding you that they're the ones who rescued you. It's just, I don't know, it's tough. And so the person who is in Jamaica who is getting sponsored have to have very thick skin, because there's a possibility that the person who is going to marry you, they might say they don't care now, but then when you join them and you have disagreements, they start saying that you use them. It's very easy to feel like someone used you because things are not going right in the relationship. And sometimes that's far from it. Sometimes it has nothing to do with that age difference, as I said. And sometimes it has nothing to do with people trying to use you. Just didn't give yourself enough time to get to know the person. Time is the thing, but I don't want to tell anyone not to take risk. I'm not going to tell anyone because, when I was deciding to date the person that I'm with and to take the chance to sponsor them, there's nobody, honestly, I don't think there was one person who supported that idea. People might not come out and tell you what they think in a very straight way, but a lot of people say, oh, I hope things work out because some of these guys are dishonest. They expected him to just come and take off, and it didn't happen that way. So someone mentioned this thing earlier, like they watch a show. Anyone here watch the show, The 90-Day Fiancé? Did any of you watch the show? And what do you think of that show? And in the case with the guy who is being deported now, did you watch the series with him when he was on it? And do you think he should be deported? Or do you think the lady was stupid to get involved with this guy that's 20 years younger? I don't want to just chat up by myself, guys. Let me hear what you have to say in this. Was she stupid to to be involved with a 20-year-old guy? Is there a possibility for that to work out, or the age difference is just too wide? Anyone? Okay, women need to stop this build a beer, bill a man thing. Okay. What do you mean, mind over matter? Bill a beer, are you saying women should stop picking up men and rescuing them or assisting a man? Because what if guys say that too? It's time for men to stop, because men do this all the time. They, date girls that are from disadvantaged backgrounds and help them, and it works out. Or are we in the old tradition to say the man is the one who is supposed to be doing these things? We can help. I personally feel like if you meet a really nice guy, you could assist him. I'm not saying you meet somebody on vacation and you have to be sending money back home to him and his family's pressuring you and all that. Those are telltale sign that this person's an opportunist, or that the family is going to be a problem, because if he's not there with you yet and you have such big responsibility, that could be a problem. I don't know if the comments stopped. I'm just not seeing them. Okay. Of course, man over matter, definitely. Okay, he does not need to be from Jamaica, just good character and career. Where are you, mind over matter? And hook me up on Jeniran at Gmail. We could talk about this. Jeniran at gmail.com. We could talk about that. Definitely people will throw it in your face when you assist them, when you help them. And one thing I remember when I was in Jamaica, I went to visit, and I remember my husband's grandfather told him, make sure that you're all in your own. Make sure you have your own money, because he says your wife is a career person, and he had his skills, but his grandfather was telling him, his grandfather doesn't know that I was home that day, but his grandfather was telling him to make sure that as a man, he could care for his family, he could take care of his woman, and his child and not depend on me because I'm a career person. He wasn't doing that, but the grandfather was warning him not to, because it says with women, a woman will do so much until you cross her, and then she will tear you to pieces and make you feel terrible about yourself. And at the time, I thought that was wisdom that this older man was giving to his grandson, to say, don't depend on a woman. If you want to have your dignity as a man, hold your own. Okay, I watched some clips from 90 different. I think Blonde Wife is young too. The guy was, she's 40 though. I think she's 40 years old, but she looked pretty good for her age. Honestly, when I looked at him and her together, I didn't think about the age difference. The age difference is not why he cheated. It's just a part of his character, to be honest. Yeah, Apple, I'm here just bobbing and weaving around the topic, asking, if you would marry somebody from another country and sponsor them to live with you in the States, or would you want someone to sponsor you and bring? I think I know you're living in the States, but let's just say she was in Europe and you wanted to go join her in Europe. Would you want to marry somebody? Would you, or could you marry somebody and then join them? And would you be able to date someone older than yourself or younger, vice versa? Agree. I thought my son and daughter that, well, you teach them to how hold your own, not just depend on somebody. Okay. I don't believe women should assist a man. It's not her role. Really? Men are meant to financially care for the woman and family. The roles are not reversible. Really? I don't know if I said, when I said she looks good for her age, I'm saying, is that offensive? I'm just saying, the typical 40-year-old woman, from certain culture doesn't necessarily look young, but just looking at her, if they say she's 40, I'm not sure. She looked pretty good for her age. I don't know. Maybe that's offensive, but truthfully speaking, if you're 40 years old and you're dating a 20-year-old person, and you can't just look and tell that you're that different, and that's what I mean. You look good for your age. If you can pass for somebody who's close to 20, I think you're looking pretty good. The typical woman who's 40 doesn't look like she's in her 20s. That's what I meant. Nothing wrong with helping a man to build himself up. Oh, I have I have no problem with it. If a person has ambition, if the man is ambitious and he has not, he doesn't have to have what we call a career, but he has a skill. And I see this individual. Oh, Apple. But you would do it. You would do it. You're just saying not any other race. I'm in the UK. I will email you. Thanks for giving me your email address. Someone stole my laptop. Okay. You were not being offensive or shocked because, yeah, she looks young. She did look very young. I mean, I know a lot of women who are 40 years old who's, of that race, and they don't look the way she does. Yeah, I just, it's a mixed feeling thing for me, because I don't think it's right to say, I am glad that I didn't look at my potential husband's financial situation and judge it on that, because I would have made a big mistake in doing that. And after, like, sometimes we have this conversation, would you do it again? I would say, would you marry me again? And he would ask me, would I do go to Jamaica and marry someone and bring them here? And sometimes I say no. And it's like an inside joke with us. It's like, well, I'm not marrying you again. So it's an inside joke. But truthfully speaking, I am very glad that I didn't look at his financial situation. I don't know why it didn't occur to me that I knew he had a skill, and I watched his work ethics. I looked at that. And truthfully speaking, he was a farmer and he was a builder. And I don't like men who just work with their brain alone. I like men who, this is just my preference. I like guys that are handy. I like a man with rough, big hands. I like a man who, if, like I said, if there's a hurricane and our house blow down, he could put our roof back up the next day. That's just for me. That's just my own liking. I like a man who, if God forbid, something were to happen and we had to live up in some hill somewhere, he'd be able to plant our food. He'd be able to sustain us. I don't necessarily like guys who are just I like a guy who's intelligent, but he didn't have to be someone who has a degree, so a PhD or whatever. I like a handyman. And in Jamaica, if you understand the culture and you see what's going on with the economy, there are a lot of very ambitious people who are not getting any opportunities. A lot of good men, very respectable men that would marry you and make a good husband and make and be a good provider, but all the person wants is an opportunity. Now, when you hear all these nightmares and stories, you're going to say, oh my gosh, no, don't do that. Don't take that chance with them. But I don't think it's fair. I think you have to take each person as an individual and get to know each person for yourself. And when the red flags show up and you say that this person is just a user, this is an opportunist, sorry, then I can say, well, don't do it. Excuse me. Some people are writing comments and it's just popping up. I love a man that can use his hands, a real man. Yes, plant and grow food. I love to, of course. I just love that. I think that is just, to me, that's a sexy man, to be honest with you. But why foreign women allow their men to cheat, especially from Montserrat? I don't think any woman allow the man to cheat. I think some women just decide that I'm in a relationship with this person. And regardless of what they do, I'm in here forever. I'm committed. If the person is not leaving me, I'm not leaving either. And again, that's a personal choice for some people. So if he's, hey, listen, if he's over the age of 35, I do it. But 50-year-old men are marrying women their age and they come to North America. And when they come, they're looking for a younger girl. Could marry someone the same age as you. And when they come, it doesn't work out either. It's such a complex thing. Okay, I'm 62 years old. Are you a Black woman, Teresa? Because if you are, that would explain that. I mean, a lot of Black women tend to look younger as they age. Don't most Jamaican men cheat? Anyway, I don't see. You said most, so I'm not going to dispute that. Because some women say all men cheat, and I don't agree with that. All men have the potential to cheat, but not all men do. They let them cheat and know it. Okay. Some women just don't care if the man cheats or not. He's taking care of them, he's taking care of his family. That's all they care about. No woman allows a man to cheat. How can you stop him? You can't stop him by telling him, listen, if you cheat on me, I'm leaving. And you can't cheat and you say I leave, and then when he does it. Because there are women who actually go out, they search the husband's phone or the boyfriend's phone, and they look in there and they find numbers and they find out that he's cheating. And then when they confront him, they don't leave. So why are you searching his phone for if you know you're not going to leave? Part Native American. Okay. I wouldn't do it for love. I'd do it to help. Love would be a bonus, but not an expectation. I agree with you. Honestly, that's the best answer I've heard in a long time. Because if you do it because you think this is a really nice guy or a nice girl or lady or whatever, and for me, when I got married to my partner, that was one of the things that I said to myself. The way he was there for me when I needed someone to be there for me, I would have done it to help him, to give him the opportunity that I think he could use. And I got the sense that he would make use of it. And I thought to myself, well, as time go on, because as you get older too, remember that was not my first relationship. So as you get older, your priorities change. So I'll give him this opportunity, give him an opportunity to do more for himself because he deserved it. He was a nice guy. And you hope for the best. I think when you have fairy tale, this is what I think is happening to a lot of people, why it's not working out. Not just that the guy is bad, but because the fantasy, the fairy tale ending that they're looking for is what is causing the problem. Because when they finally come together in the States, and people start showing their true qualities, things fall apart. When you're living long distance and you go home, it's vacation. You're in a good mood, he's in a good mood. He's there serving you, and being your servant. A lot of people like when they go home and they get treated like queen, queen bee or king bee. But when they join you in the country where you're staying and real life, hits the fan and people have to work and people are tired and they don't have the chance to, talk like they used to, and bills start coming in. And sometimes in these long distance relationship, people, not just the people back home, show things that's not the truth, the whole truth. Foreigners go down and give these people the impression that they are rich, sending barrels and sending money, expensive brand name things to people, and build. These guys suffer too, because you build up their hopes and make them think that you have this fairy tale life, and then when they join you, it's not the case. You're in debt from going back and forth all these years. You're expecting the person to work and help you pay it off. Remember, you had a life before you met them too. You are in financial ruin, and when the person comes, they don't want to help you clear yourself out of all that mess, especially if it's a mess you had before you met them. And here's an example. A friend of mine, she's in her 60s, and she went to Jamaica for Christmas, and a few days before she left, she met this guy and they hit it off. And then shortly after she came, so she's leaving when she meets this guy the last week. She comes to Canada and she has to turn back around to go back to see him 2 months later, because now she's saying, wow, I wish I met him the whole time I was there. And when she was going to meet him, going back to see him now, because the first time she didn't go for him, when she's going back to see him, she brings 4 pieces of luggage because she brought her son with her, paid for extra luggage to bring 4 cases for this guy. And, she really was into impressing him. And before you know it, he was calling her every week. Oh, I had an accident. My van broke down. Oh, I need money for my medication. And then he said that he was married to someone who lived in the UK, and he wanted help to get his divorce. And she was sending money for months. Every time she thought it was enough for him to get the divorce, he needed more. So she kept more money, more. And I kept saying to her, what was this guy doing before he met you? What was he doing? And I'm thinking, when this person who is 45 years old, who has never worked a day in his life, come to Canada, is he going to go to the factory and work a 12-hour shift to take care of you and your children? She had these unrealistic expectations. So she dumped a lot of money in this person. She's investing in this man. You can't invest in somebody. You can't pour money into people hoping that they love you and that you're going to get a return. These are not goods. These are human beings. And you have to think, what if this doesn't work out after you've invested so much of your money, not just time, but your money in this person? What did the person give you? What kind of promises they could give you to where you want to just dump money in a person that you don't know, and then you get all angry that they used you because you didn't use wisdom either. And I would say, well, some of the money that you're sending, maybe you should save it for when this person comes to join you, then you guys can spend it together. I thought we had such a very passionate love, but I guess not. He always wanted money, even wanted me to get rid of my cat, my babies. All I had is 2 cats. I did not get rid of them, or I would have been. I guess you'd have been devastated if you did when it didn't work out. He asked me to pick up from the floor, and I did everything for him. He told me he was going away for 4 months for his job he liked. You see, Teresa, okay, let's not look at what you did. Look at what you did. Like, if you know that that's over and you're re-examining the way you approach a situation, can you take any blame for any of that? Like, we have to look at our involvement in these things. Look at what we do also to contribute to this thing. Why it's not, I don't want to say desperate, because everybody wants love, but what was in you that made you, so willing to become his little servant, picking up behind him? What did you tell yourself? And was he picking up behind as well? Exactly. I'm going to say this, and I don't have a problem saying this. My husband was in Jamaica 5 years before he joined me. And when I was going home to visit, I never spent more than $100 on anything. No more than $100. And whatever I would bring for him when I go back, he would treat it like it was gold. He was like such good care. If I bought him a cologne, he would have that cologne and I would return. He's never, honestly, he's never picked up that phone in 5 years and say, "Can you bring this for me?" or "Can I have this?" Never. And I really like that about him. And he would always say, when I'm going, he would say to me, "Don't bring anything for anybody." Because I'm in the habit, if I'm going to be around kids, it's hard for me to be around kids without bringing stuff. And he would say to me, "Don't bring anything for me. That means you won't have any excuse to bring anything for anybody." And I used to say, "You're so mean." Truthfully speaking, I used to say, "Oh my goodness, you're too mean." And over the years, he would say things to me privately about just giving away my stuff to folks. And, he turned out to be very correct. So there are ways to tell if someone is just an opportunist and just wants to use you, and how the person treats you. Like, are they serving you? You can tell if the person is just doing all these things just because they want to travel. What made you change your mind, Teresa, if you didn't like him in the beginning? You see, I had nothing in common with him. My new guy, he's a gem. The universe give you what you asked. Yes. So you had nothing in common with him, but you got, I don't know, scared that you're gonna be alone, so you settled. Don't do that. Don't limit yourself. Don't get in don't get involved with somebody because, oh, I'm lonely, because it's going to temper your judgment. So someone asked, a female on my channel asked me to set her up on a guy. And a guy in Jamaica that I met asked me to set him up on someone. I didn't tell him how to YouTube channel, because, truthfully speaking, the 99% of the people that are on my channel are people who found it one way or the other. I've never told anybody, friends or otherwise, about my YouTube channel. In the very beginning, I don't tell anyone. And to this day, I still don't advertise my channel. People find it when they find it. But in my mind, because I talk to people privately, I said to this female, she asked me if I could set her up on someone. She said she wanted to find a nice guy, and if I could, if I knew anyone. And I said, okay. And I told the guy when I went to Jamaica, he's such a nice person that I said to him, you know what? I'm going to keep my eyes open for you. And if I meet a nice lady, I'm going to introduce you guys. And he said, yes, I should do that. A little time passed, and he asked me, oh, did you forget that thing? Are you still looking? I was looking. And at the time, I was speaking to a female on my channel that I was thinking she is going to be perfect for this guy, and he's going to be good for her. But one day, him and I were having a conversation. I was so close to giving her his information, but I didn't tell her about him yet either. I was like watching her, seeing the type of person that she is and what she's saying to me personal, and using that to guide me in deciding if I hook them up. Then one day I was having a conversation with him, and he said to me, are you still looking into that thing for me? And I said, I am. But patience is a virtue. And when I introduce you guys, I would like to see it work. I can't predict that it will work, but I want to see there's a possibility for it to work. So he says to me, oh, don't worry about it, man. Anybody. I said, what kind of person do you like? He says, I don't care, whatever. I said, black, white. Do you want someone who's older or younger, someone your age? I wanted to gauge the conversation to see exactly what he likes. Everybody has a preference. And everybody has, you like, some men like plus size women. If it was up to my husband alone, I would not lose an ounce, because he prefers a plus size lady. So, people have different things. But anyway, the guy said, I don't care. I said, if she's like 300 pounds, you don't mind? He says, I don't care. And I said, well, okay, so that's nice because you don't have to be superficial. But he says, what if she's older or younger? He says, I don't care. Whatever it is, I'll work with it. And at that point, I said, I'm not going to be responsible for hooking up somebody who's just looking for an opportunity. I cannot do that to the female, and I'm not going to do that to him. So, of course, I didn't have to tell him that I'm not going to hook you up because I can't guarantee any relationship working out, but I should at least know that both persons will give it their best shot. And I would hate to introduce someone to a man, a female to a man, a woman who's been single for all the years that she was single, to somebody who I knew was just going to use her because he didn't care. He says he had no specification. He was just going to take the woman as is. She could be 500 pounds. She could be 100 years older. That doesn't mean there's any possibility for that to work out. So I just ditched that. And as time go on, I had someone else in mind for the female. See, here's the irony. So even though I didn't tell her about this guy, there was someone else that I thought would be a better fit for her. But then she seemed to be involved with another guy, and I knew that person was not a good choice for her. But it sounded like she really wanted to meet someone and she wanted to move on with her life. And so the person that I had in mind for her, I just let it go because he deserved to be with someone who is the female has to value herself enough to say, you know what, I'm lonely, but I'm not desperate. And if I'm going to marry someone, I want a quality person. There's no guarantee in life, but there are people who are married and they're no longer married, but the relationship still exists between them because at the end of the day, it's still a good, decent human being. I wanted to make sure I introduced them to each other. And if they couldn't become intimate, like into a long-term relationship, they could at least be friends. We can't have too many friends. And she was very eager to move along, finding someone who was not right for her, and he was just willing to just hold on to anybody. Not true. A Jamaican man was in love with me, and he works and have his paper, but wasn't what I want. Okay, uh, that's okay, Divine. Lisha, women need first love themselves before they can love someone. Of course, how are you gonna love someone else? That's the problem. A lot of us women, we don't love ourselves. We're looking for love from somebody. Hello, Beville. Rowan Simpson, where are you, Rowan? Are you in Jamaica or where? Thank you, Teresa. I I don't know. I'm a romantic, but I'm a realistic person too. But I love to see people in love and not like fantasy love, especially when you're older. I like to see people in realistic situations and knowing that relationship take work. Or you're in New York, would you date someone in Jamaica, Rowan? Let's say you meet a really nice girl from Jamaica, would you? I have a 10-month-old. She's a handful, but I'm catching up again. Oh, no problem, Queen J. Queen J, do you live in Jamaica or you're in the States? I can't remember. Hell no, you wouldn't marry someone from what we're saying. Where are you, Ron? Or you're in New York, and you're saying you would never marry anyone from Jamaica? See, it's a lot of people are afraid to take the chance to date people. New Jersey. Have you ever been in a long distance relationship, Queen J? I know you gotta love yourself first. You can't wait for someone else to love you. The worst thing ever. You have to first love yourself and you have to let that person, male or female, come and find you loving yourself, finding you living the kind of life that you'd want to live with someone else. Out of all the men I have ever met, Jamaican men understood me the most, but Jamaican men in England are different. They lack passion. It's not just England. I think it's in Canada as well. You have men, the pride that some Jamaican men have in terms of, you know, being a breadwinner and being able to run their family and able to contribute to their families. You have men over here that have no problem in living off women. Now, I'm not saying that there's not a lot of younger men in Jamaica or men in Jamaica who have that attitude, but in North America, I find that guys have no problems getting involved with women who are on welfare and living off these women in social housing. So it's everywhere. A Jamaican woman doing a video on 90 Day Fiancé said only a Jamaican born woman can be with a Jamaican man. No, 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 no. I disagree with that lady SV. Um, yes, there are going to be cultural differences and cultural clashes and misunderstanding when you don't know the person. My partner and I are from the same community, and I find that it enriches our relationship because when we're talking about things that happened in the past or we're talking about people that we both know, it's so nice. We don't have to go into this background thing and detail. It is very nice. So it would make it very easy if the both of you have the same background. But I know a lot of people who are married to folks from different culture and different race, and they're happy. They're happy. So only Jamaican born woman can be with a Jamaican man. It's not true. I disagree. First, it's very important. Talking to others and have old fashioned. Yeah, of course, like anything else, you have to really have a connection with this person. But I think a lot of people have good sex when they just meet. Um, they like the Jamaican men, you know, how they handle their business, and they say that's love. It's not love. That sex is not love. Sex is supposed to be a spiritual thing that connects you. But you don't have to feel like you're madly in love with somebody either. There are people who get together and get married and they were not in love, but they have a commitment to each other. They knew that this is what I want, this is what we're going to do, we're staying together, and we're going to make this work out. Brother, the wife is not Jamaican and they have been married 15 years. There you go, and happy. It's about the individual. I love my Jamaican woman and she has to live close to me. I'm in New York City. Okay, I respect that, Rowan. I respect that because you know, culture is important to you and understanding each other. And there's a lot of misunderstanding when you're not from the same culture. Okay, my mom is Jamaican and I was born here in Canada and I wouldn't mind a Jamaican man. So thank you. Listen, just do your homework, Lady S. Do your homework and, you know, look for the red flags. Bless up, big six. We're talking about relationship, long distance, marrying older or younger. What are you looking for in a partner and stuff like that? Exactly. Now let me share a story with you. When I was single, and I was single for a long time by choice, there was a female in the office where I was working. Drink up your coffee, Apple. There's a female that a much older person than me. At the time, I was 30 years old, and she was in her 40s, maybe 45. And she would always go on these dates, and she would always talk about her romantic weekends and evenings and so on. Good night, Johnny. She always talked about her love interest and all those things. And she always asked me if I was dating, and I told her I wasn't dating. I wasn't ready to date, whatever, whatever. But I used to do a lot of things. Like I say, I used to take my girls out and we go for dates. We'll go to nice restaurants. We'll go to some nice hotel. And I would enjoy myself because I was pampering myself. I was taking care of myself and I was spending time with my children. I was very happy to be single at the time, to be honest with you, after being in a bad situation. So I planned in January. I usually start planning my Christmas vacation from January. So when I go to work at my desk, I would always, you know, turn on my computer and I'm looking to see where I'm going to go next. So I found this hotel called Prince of Wales Hotel in Niagara Falls, and I was planning to go there for my Christmas with my girls, and I booked the honeymoon suite. I was saving for this. And she kept looking at me. I was just going there all the time. I always believe, like I said, visit the place or the thing that you want. So I wanted to go to this hotel. It was beautiful. So I kept going and looking at the picture and just fantasizing about going there. And so she would always come to my desk and always ask me, I can't believe you're actually going to go here with your children. Why aren't you bringing a man? I'm like, why do I have to bring a man? I can enjoy myself with my girls. Anyway, time came and I went, had a blast, brought my pictures back, and she was looking at my photographs. And she said, oh my gosh, I can't believe, I thought you were joking. I can't believe you actually went to stay at a hotel in a honeymoon suite with your girls. And she kept talking about her relationship and her romance. And that I got very upset that day because she was making it seem as if something was wrong with me for wanting to spend time with my girls, and respecting myself enough to say, I'm not just going to allow a man to come in and out my life and people to come and use me and have sex just because I want to show that I can. Anybody can have sex. No woman has any problem in having sex. Any woman who doesn't have sex is not because she can't have sex, because it doesn't matter who she is. Even if she's not attractive, there's going to be a man who's willing and prepared. And I took care of myself, and I tried to say to her that if I'm not sexually involved with anybody, it's not because I can't get a man. It's because I choose not to get a man, and I respect myself enough to say that I will wait until I find that right person. I had to put her in her place that day. I remember when I said to her, sex is not love. All these men that you're having sex with, she was a beautiful woman too. You could tell she was much prettier when she was younger. But, I said to her, sex is not love. That's what you need to know. You're confusing sex with love. So that's why you're getting in these relationships and they're not working out, because, you feel fire and passion and excitement, and you're saying that's love. That's not. That's just chemistry between you and somebody. These are mechanical things. Anybody can have good sex, but is there love? What is going to make it deeper and sweeter is that you find someone that you have this deep spiritual connection to. And I think a lot of people that are getting into these long distance relationships, they're not looking for a spiritual connection. They're looking for a physical one. And the physical one doesn't last very long. That's what I want to say. The physical thing is not going to last. So this 40-year-old woman that was going to marry this 20-year-old guy, I'm absolutely certain that she wasn't looking for a spiritual connection. She was looking for a sexual one. And so that fizzles, I mean. And now he's looking for another connection with someone else, maybe his age. And I can't hate him. I can't be angry with him. I can't judge him because I'm saying he was only 20. Yeah, you need to heal yourself. Children are kind. So you have no kids, mind over matter. Don't have to physically give birth to a child. You can adopt. There's so many children that are looking for a mother. American, 3 years still going. Of course, Mrs. Nia. The woman is bad mind. She was jealous of you. She used to embarrass me, mind over matter. She would say things like, oh my gosh, I can't believe, look at you. You can find a guy to, go on a date with. I'm like, it's not about me finding a guy to go on a date. There's no problem with me. I choose not to venture into this kind of situation. I enjoy being with my girls and going places with them and, that kind of thing. But she used to make me, and I used to ignore her. She used to always make these comments. The day when I put her in her place to tell her that sex wasn't love and that none of these men she was sleeping with loved her, everybody in my office cheered. They clapped. They said for years she would say that to people who were single, and they didn't have the courage to say anything. And it's not that I didn't have the courage, but I just didn't want to pay no mind to her. Now, keep in mind, she was dating a guy who was married, but he was separated from his wife, and she was dating this guy. And something happened to the guy, his brother. The brother passed away. And because him and his wife had history, regardless of what problems they're having, why they were separated, Once his brother passed away, him and his wife went back together, connected back together in his moments of grief. They worked their things out. She was thrown to the side. She would bring this guy out for dinner. She said for Christmas, for example, New Year's Eve, she took him to some fancy restaurant, spent um like $300 on dinner. And at the end of the dinner, the guy said, "You might as well take him to McDonald's because the food he got, he couldn't eat, because she bring him to this fancy place and they serve him raw fish and serve him water that was worth $25. And it still didn't make him like her anymore. He still went back to his wife. So what she was there mocking me about being single by choice, making it seem like something was wrong with me because I didn't have a man. Yeah, of course. It has to be about that connection. And if somebody is eager just to get in bed with you, that you must know that's not love. That's not to say that you could meet somebody. Again, I had a boss and he said that after work he went to a bar to drink, just to relax before he went home. He met his wife. She was the bartender that night. And that night they struck up a conversation. She went back to his house and she never left. So the first night they met, they actually slept with each other. They got married. They were together 15 years and they had 2 kids. These things are hard to decide. So I don't want to judge it. If I won't do it to say I need more time to get to know somebody, or I need to, whatever intimate situation, not before a certain period of time, I'm not going to judge someone who had a one night stand and it works out. Okay, there you go. His ex died and they got closer. The Jamaican man did that also. Exactly. See, people have history. And because sometimes a man is single when you meet him. He might be single when you meet him. He was lying about being single. But then something happens and he goes to a wedding and he connects with an old flame. And before you know, the old fires to catch again and they're back together. And where are you? Okay. Well, if you can have kids, are you just waiting to meet the right person, mind over matter? Ex-sister died. Okay. And they reconnected. There you go. That guy, she was devastated when he went back to his wife. But again, I say they're married. As long as two people are still legally married, I wouldn't get involved in that situation. I don't care how long they've been separated, as long as they're legally married. I'm not going to invest my time and my heart with that person. And I'm definitely not going to share my body with you. When you are still married to somebody, you could change your mind, you could get back together, especially when they have kids. Yeah, follow your own path. And as a single person, all my friends were involved with people. All of them had boyfriends or baby daddy or husband. I was always happy for them. I remember one female said she wished she was like me and she wished she could be single because things wasn't going so well in her relationship. And I said to her, don't do that. Exactly, Apple. I said to her, don't do that. Because I'm single and I'm enjoying my life, that doesn't mean that I don't get lonely. And that doesn't mean that one day I don't hope to find somebody who is going to, bring joy to my life. So I don't envy other people in their relationship. But at the same time, when they're saying, oh, the single life is the deal, I always remind them the single life is not necessarily the deal. I get lonely too. And I would want to meet someone who can, be a good companion to me someday. Don't envy anybody for their situation. Just, work on yourself and pray and position yourself to meet someone who is going to be good for you. I want a Jamaican woman with a good heart and a strong mind. Pray for that, Rowan. Pray about it. And I'm not telling to pray to some invisible God and wait for him to provide a partner for you. But you put down what you want, Rowan. If you know you want a particular kind of woman, write it down to say, this is what I'm looking for. But don't look for that in a person. It's not in you too. So if you know you want someone who's kind, make sure that you're kind. Or if you're not kind, learn how to be kind. If you're looking for somebody who's faithful, make sure that you're also a faithful person. I think we're asking of other people what we don't want to create in ourselves. So whatever it is you want in the partner, become that in you too. So when you find her, you both find a good thing. Sometimes I want to say something to the person, but I feel this person may be offended. Someone here, or you're someone that you know personal. I really enjoy your channel. Follow you all the time. Have to get ready to work tomorrow. Blessed be to you. Oh yes, Teresa, thank you so much for stopping by. Have a great night, and we'll meet again. How about me? I'm Rowan. What's the question? For example, write down looking for big body, pretty eyes. If that's what you want, Apple, what's wrong with that? Everybody has their own fantasy. Everybody has, what rocks their boat or floats their boat. Everybody, whatever it is you want. But don't keep it superficial, because if you're saying I want big body, there's millions of people with big body and no character. Pretty eyes, but you can't say, yeah, I'm attracted to someone with these eyes. I've met lots of guys who made a big deal about when I was back home, I hated my eyes because the girls used to call me pussy eye, and they used to mock me. I hated them. But one day I was wearing my glasses, my shades one day, and this guy asked me to take off my shades. I said, no, I'm not going to. And anyway, I did. And he was like, oh my goodness, you have beautiful eyes. I said, what are you talking about? Beautiful eyes. And he said to me, you don't think your eyes are beautiful? I'm like, no, they don't. They called me this pussy eye person all these years. And he says, who's saying that? I bet it's girls. And it really was girls that was saying that to me. And he would say, oh, they're just jealous. And then when I came to Canada, it's a different thing. Because when I come here now, the females here would ask me if I was wearing, because my eyes were a lot lighter when I was younger. So they would say, oh, the girls would say, are you wearing contacts? I like your eyes. So see, it depends on culture and where you are. Bye, Teresa. Talk to you later. Yeah, it depends on where you are. Some people will say they don't like it because it's different, and some people love it. My older daughter has beautiful eyes, and she gets a lot of compliments here. Whereas in Jamaica, I was made to feel ashamed of it. Uh-huh. Listen, yeah, that's one of the worst things. People will make you feel like always telling you, oh, when you're gonna find a man, if you're a single person, when you're gonna find a man, they don't want to know that you're happy. They just want you to get married. They just want you to have a man. And sometimes misery love company. There are people who are in relationships that's not working out, and it's like they just want someone to help them cry about their bad relationship. Thank you. Thank you, mind over matter. But that was not something pussy. Yeah, they didn't say eyes, pussy eye. Oh my goodness. They used to bother me so much about my eyes back home. Yes, exactly. So you know what I'm talking about, Queen J. I was 22 when I came to Canada, and that was apart from that one guy telling me back home that my eyes, he liked my eyes. But when I came here, people, male and female, and ladies especially, I thought, what a difference, would come and say, wow, I love your eyes. And they would ask me if I was wearing contacts. But then I didn't even know what was like. I was like, contact? What do you mean? Are you wearing contact lens? I said, what is that? They were like, you don't know what contacts is? I'm like, no, I don't. And they'll say, oh no, it's just the color of your eyes and all that. But I was made to feel like it was bad in my country. Oh my, an apple. Here's another thing. I was like 14 years old, and I was in my class. I can't forget, it was like home economics class. And one of my classmates took a scissors, and literally my locks now is not much different from my natural hair. When I used to grow my hair out and comb it, I always had very long hair, but thick, like black hair. My hair doesn't look like a mixed or anything. And the girl took a scissors and cut off, like if this was a plait of my hair, she cut it up to here. And and then she said after school she was going to beat me. And believe me, I couldn't fight. I was so shy. She said she was going to beat me after school because all the kids started telling her she's just bad mind and why did she cut my hair and whatever. She said she was going to beat me up after school. Friends telling you to find a man, single, celibate for 4 years. It's gonna take a special guy to change that. Good for you, Divine. Good for you. Because when he finds you, he'll know that you're a special person, and you're going to make sure you tell him, listen, if you're looking for someone to play games with, I'm not the one. Exactly. Mind over matter. Yeah, the important thing is when you're single, is not to sit there just waiting for someone to come in your life. You live your life. Just continue living your life. When you meet somebody, I'm not saying run games, but I did. Because games, not in the sense that, oh, I'm going to make you think I'm interested in you. I'm not at all interested in you. But if I think I'm starting to see you as someone that's a possibility, then I'm doing the research, as Apple said earlier. Yeah, as Apple said earlier, I'm turning on my investigative skills. You have to investigate any person, just like you investigate anything. If if you're looking for a new home, you're not just going to run into the first home you're looking to buy or rent. You're going to see different places. If you're going to the store to purchase clothing to go to a function, you don't put on the first thing you see. You try things on to see what fits. I don't think it's different from relationship. You try, and trying doesn't mean that you're going to go to bed with everybody that you date. They sure made me feel terrible, Apple. Oh my goodness. They called me Icy Bell. That's a whole story. They called me Puss Eye. Um, I don't know. All kind of names. I've always been celibate. Never really had a real man. I leave quickly. Now, mind over matter. That's very interesting though. But at the same time, because sometimes there are women who are single, and it's not they love themselves, they value themselves, but sometimes your expectation of another person can be unreal. Like, there's no perfect guy. There's never going to be a perfect gal or a perfect guy. It's a lot of things you have to look at and say, okay, you know, what are you looking for? And are these expectations real? I run as I don't know if I'm capable of loving. Okay, so as soon as someone is getting too close to you, you find an excuse to run away. But do you want, when you're in that secret place by yourself, you're looking in that mirror face to face by yourself, don't have to pretend divine rebel. Do you want to be in a relationship? Do you feel loneliness is not a reason to be in a relationship, but do you feel like you hope to find someone? Okay. Well, if you feel that way, take as much time as you need, because you deserve to find someone who will love you as much as you love yourself. Yeah, you have to love yourself. There, once a person, can I have some apple? Once a person comes and find you, they don't know, and a lot of guys are going to be turned off too when they realize that you love yourself so much, you value yourself so much. It's going to be difficult for a bad guy to stay in your life. Men who are just looking for a quickie, when they come and see you love yourself so much, they're not going to stick around. So you didn't even have to tell them to go quickly. They'll leave. They'll say, this person is too much. This person wants more than I'm willing to give. The last guy was 3 years ago. I was doing too much for him and he was not reciprocating, so I got rid of him, of course. Good for you, mind over matter. I looked at this thing about the personality type. I think it's love. I think it's called you're talking about the love language, Divine Rebel? Because I find that very interesting. How we communicate. I should do a topic on that one. How learning people personality type could help you stay in relationship, meet someone and stay in relationship if you understand your partner's personality type, saying that some people are, if you give them gifts, are you talking about the same thing? If you give them gifts, then they feel like you love them. If you do service for them, then they see that as love. And when people don't understand their partner's personality type or the way they love, then oftentimes there's a lot of misunderstanding in the relationship. I think it's called the five long love languages. If you can research it, folks. I am on INFJ. What is that? Good night, Queen J. I'm gonna be going soon too. It's longer than I thought I would have stayed. I was gonna up off after just 2 minutes because I thought, okay, let me just leave some questions, and if folks wanted me to come back, I could. Bless up, Junior Gordon. You have the same last name as myself. Yeah, we'll talk about this some more. But the Carl Young, I wish you could for example, I'm an INFJ. Please tell me if that's misspelled. Editing because I want to start making videos. Yeah, I want you to, and maybe you could help. Maybe you could help me with my channel as well, Apple. Carl Young was a, yeah, I know Carl Young. I understand Carl Young, and a lot of those old philosophers, very very interesting. Some of them, in my opinion, were crazy, but that's another story. What do you think of horoscope compatibility as a way of appearing? To a certain extent, I think people who are born at a certain time have similarity in their personality. I find for myself, I am always attracted to someone who is Aquarius, whether male or female, or they're attracted to me. I'm an Aquarian by sign, and I don't believe in horoscope like telling me, oh, this is going to happen today, this, that, and the other. But I think people are born around a certain time, or the moon. They have a lot in common. I can just tell when I meet people, new people, I can tell when I have this deep connection with folks, and most times when I check it out, they're either Leo or Aries. It goes without saying, Leo or Aries. Now, if you're March, we might have a connection, but I find I run into the same issue with folks who are from that sign. It always happens. And if you are, what do you call it? A Scorpio, a female, and you're Scorpio, I also notice something with me and a female whose our background or sign is Scorpio. Virgo is attracted to me, but I don't care for the female. I'm Leo. Okay, there you go. Leo, all my friends are either Leo or Aries. It's just very interesting. And I knew a man who was Virgo. He was a very sweet person, but he was like a doormat. I couldn't date that person because my personality is very strong, and I knew if I got to with that person, I would never be able to respect him. He was just a doormat. The Virgo men that I know from the past, not personally, but not like relationship that I've been in, but people that I know, I find Virgo men to be so nice, but to the points where it's hard to maintain respect from because they don't stand up, they don't demand respect. Yeah, Leo and Aries. I just connect with these individuals. My best friends. My husband is Aries, and I wasn't surprised. My best friend was Aries, so Virgo. I don't know. The females are more stronger to me than the men. Taurus, you're bull. And I'm not surprised. Taurus is the bull, right? Apple. What month is that? I'm Scorpio. Oh my goodness, Scorpio men. Oh my goodness, trust me. I'm sorry to say, and I don't like to. It's a very good thing to bring up about sign because I would never, ever, ever date a Scorpio man. I don't care how lonely I am. We could be friends, but I would never. Okay, and Sagittarius men, very interesting. Um, the men that are Sagittarius. Scorpio, women and men, they're different, but the men, Taurus, please tell me what Taurus is, what month it is, because I can't, if I'm thinking if it's the bull. Yes, the Virgos, every Virgo guy I know, oh my goodness. My aunt was married to a man who was Virgo, and he was such a sweet person, but my auntie run him. She was like, she was the boss. Taurus is my son and his dad. What is Taurus? Can you remind me, please? What month? Is it the bull? Is that the sign with the bull? And April. I don't really don't get along with women in general. Okay, Capricorn. I know a few people that are Capricorn. I find Capricorn women to be very dominant, very headstrong, and very opinionated, in my opinion. So maybe that's why you wouldn't get along too well with women, because women tend to be dominating, or domineering. Yeah, Taurus is the bull. Okay. And Apple, yeah, I could see you being a Taurus. I would never, ever, ever date a Scorpio man. I don't care how nice you are. Oh my gosh, no, listen, Scorpio men can be very sweet, very beautiful. So don't think that they're all bad. They can be very beautiful, very sweet. But they're Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. I swear they could go from 0 to 100. And I'm not even speculating on this. I'm telling you from experience. That Scorpio man is scary to me. Scary. Yes, Caps are. Capricorn women are aggressive, domineering. But again, I had a friend that wasn't. She was one of the best friends I ever had, a female. David Beckham, The Rocks, Kitchen Brian, Laura, Jean. Okay. Female, but couldn't date a Virgo. Oh my goodness, a Virgo man is so sweet. It's so nice. The woman is more aggressive. She's more assertive. But the man, oh my goodness, every Virgo man that I ever met, I always felt sorry for them. And they always have very aggressive women. They love Virgo men from me meeting people who are Virgo that are men. They like women who are strong. They love domineering women. Virgo can be too sneaky, but they're attracted to me. I'm a May Taurus, not late. Okay, April Taurus. Okay. May. Okay, so you're born in May. Scorpios, Scorps, they have a dark side. The women are aggressive and so are the men. If you're a Scorpio, you know I'm telling the truth because you're strong and annoying. But no, we're like best friends. Like, of course, they make very good friends. But I don't, the men, very jealous and can be very domineering. But if they love you, here's the thing with a Scorpio man, if he loves you, he's never going to leave you. He's never going anywhere. But that in itself can be a problem. And never, 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 never. If you tell me, I don't even know. If you're a male and we're just friends, that's fine. I don't have a problem with it. But I just don't think my sign will do very well. See, first of all, I like men that are quiet. So it's not like these guys are terrible and just, the Scorpion man I'm talking about was very, very quiet, very sweet, made a very wonderful, beautiful friend. But in terms of relationship, no. What is he like, Apple? The Scorpio brother of yours. What is he like? You wouldn't date a Virgo. No, the Virgo man, I would beat him. Sorry. I would beat him. I would just, I couldn't handle his passive. I don't like men I don't like aggressive men, but I don't like men that are passive. And I don't like passive aggressive men either. a Taurus man or a Virgo man. So my favorite sign for men is really Aries. Aries is my favorite sign for men, to be honest. Maybe I'm just biased because my husband is Aries. Because a Virgo guy would be a nice husband, a nice friend, but he would make me rule him. And I don't want a man that's going to make me rule him because I will. I'm very aggressive. I have a lovely Virgo male friend and he's so sweet, but there's no attraction. Okay. So it's in the friend zone. As married to a Scorpio, he was nice, did everything for me, but was too jealous. Very jealous. Very jealous. And if they're so jealous, they will hurt you. Sorry. I love quiet men too. No big mouth men. My husband has my partner have to be quiet. Oh my God, because I'm very moody, folks. I spend a lot of time alone and I just don't like. Right now, my face hurts from all this talking. You know, I just have my moment when I shut down. I spend hours and hours alone, just reading or just being quiet. So I couldn't deal with a guy who talks a lot. He would drive me crazy. Cancer. I don't know much about Cancer. I love Leo men, but their egos, oh, yes, 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 yes. Very big ego. But the women too. The women, very strong. But if the Scorpio don't like you, he's gonna cheat as long as Tun Tun is available. Oh gosh, you're killing me. If the Scorpio don't like you, he's gonna cheat. True, 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 true. My Scorpio brother always after Tun Tun is probably at over 500 partners in his life. Yeah, the Scorpio person I'm talking about, let me tell you about Scorpio men. As a female, if you want this Scorpio man to be in love with you, you got to close your legs. And this man have to chase after you and pursue you, and you have to make it difficult. The worst thing you could do is saying you're playing that, oh, I'm just going to take it as it is and just have fun and have sex. Listen, big mistake. They love the thrill is in the hunt for the scorpion, just like the scorpion. But once you let your guard down, that person, that individual will sting you. So even when you're married to a man who's scorpion, you can never let him know exactly how you feel about him. You have to reserve that. He can't know that you are so much in love with him that you're going to be staying all the time. They love the challenge. They love strong women. And they kind of love a little bit of aggression, even though they're aggressive too. Because the moment you start showing weakness to these individuals, they're gone or they'll abuse you. Yeah, I like to be by myself. I enjoy my company. I spend a lot, like I said, it's summertime now, and I go for walks and I enjoy my space and my partner. Like now that the weather is nice, every time we go out, I have a video that I was supposed to upload for you guys on the weekend. We spent it at the lake shore on the weekend, and we just go like walk on tracks and go look at animals, or that's my favorite thing to do. They'll chase you for years. But if you're not sensible after they chase you, they'll just use you and discard you. You have to hold your ground to say this is what I want and I'm not going to settle. Then they'll marry you. I was married on my second marriage, and I learned a few things about men. And if I want to get married, if I ever became divorced and want to get married, I could get married 10 times because I know myself and I try to learn to know people. And I know there's some similarity with men, regardless of race or color or class or creed, very similar thing about men. There's a secret in getting someone to marry you and stay committed to you in that relationship, a secret. And all men, it applies to all men. Trust me. Yeah, Scorpio. If you want to get married, you can. Divine Rebel. If you want to get married, you can and you will. You just have to decide if it's what you want. The worst thing is a man that needs to be dominated all the time. It is hard to keep with a strong arm. No, exactly. I can't be with someone, like I say, if you will allow me to put, but I'm going to lose interest. If you're the type of person who I can, I like the guy who's quiet, but I don't like a guy who's going to allow me to, treat him like a doormat. I'm going to lose respect. A man that needs to be dominated all the time. No, no, no. It's too much work. It's too much work. I decided that my match must be on another planet. Maybe if your expectations are so great. But listen, sometimes as you age, as you get older, sometimes some of that expectation comes down. So maybe it's not time for that to happen yet. To be greatly, not slightly on mind over matter, greatly. Men love that stuff. They don't know. I remember my ex telling somebody, and I'm gonna share the story and then I'm going. I heard him talking to his sister, and I heard him saying to the sister, I don't know where I stand with her. He's telling her that she needs not to be falling for men a particular way, or not chase after men, or not give men too much access to her. And he said, I don't know where I stand. And we were married for years at this point. He's saying he doesn't know where he stands with me. And I find a lot of men find that very attractive. That you love them, you show them enough love to keep them interested in you and loving you. But at the same time, you make sure that you show a certain character about yourself that tells them that, I'm not willing to sacrifice my integrity to be with you or for you to be with me. So you're loving, you're giving, and you're sharing, and you're committed. But at the same time, you have dignity and you value yourself so much that, it's not, you're not going to let him do as he will just so you can be with him. Don't sit on his forehead. That would be like some men like that kind of thing, and that doesn't make them. Some men who like you to sit on their forehead will still be very dominant. So I like a mix. I like a man who commands respect, not demand it. See the difference? He commands it. His action, his behavior, the way he comports himself, he commands it. He's not demanding. The moment you're demanding respect, something is wrong with you. Yeah, there's a secret. Don't be too emotional. Being too emotional and too attached to people, anybody, even friends. If you're a female and you have friends and you're always complaining that they don't call you, and you're always saying that you need to spend more time with them, even females will treat you badly. Even women will ignore you and neglect you if you're acting too desperate to be with them. You have to have your own life and just move along and make sure you create some kind of space for yourself where you can make yourself happy. My second husband is what I was always looking for. He's younger, but we're mentally and spiritually as one. He's born February 9th, same sign as myself. My husband commands respect. I love him for that. Exactly. He doesn't demand it, because if I find a man who's demanding me to respect him, then I'd lose respect. I don't want to see him, because you don't just tell somebody to, you command that. I remember when my husband met me, he told me some relatives of him said to him, I guess you're planning to marry this lady. And I said, why would he say that? He said, because my cousin said that from the moment he sees me, he knows that I'm not the type of person just to have a boyfriend. And every guy that I've ever met, even though some of them were lying, every guy I ever met when I was a single person always talked to me about marriage. I never brought it in. You have to carry yourself a certain way as a female. A certain message you have to send to that person. They have to know without you telling them that this person is not going to be into your foolishness about you coming to my yard at 2 o'clock in the morning looking for sex. and dropping me and picking me up when you feel like. And I'm not always going to be waiting beside my phone for you to call. And sometimes when you call my house, I'm not going to be able to talk to you because I have a life. I'm busy. You can't just be so desperate, and you can't dare decide that me and you are going to have some sexual relationship at your benefit, at your beck and call. As females, we have to know ourselves, people. That's what I'm trying to say. There are secrets. I could teach these lessons because they're the same regardless of race. Men love women who are strong, and men love challenge. But at the same time, too, there are women who say, I'm not going to sleep with a guy. I'm going to date him for 1 year, and then I'm going to have sex with him. And he will wait 1 year and sleep with other people and wait for you and dump you after he has it, because that's all he wanted. So it's not about, it's balance. It's knowing yourself and knowing how to work, how to give, and how to take. People say, I look, exactly, you look married. I know what they're saying when they say that. Or your marriage material. So you'll have some lying tongue man who just meet you and see you're that type of person. You don't have to tell them that you can't be my boyfriend forever. They'll see that you're the type of person that, they would want marriage, and they bring it up to you just to get into your pants too. But there's something about you that, so you have women live their entire life and they've never been married, and they ask, why was I, they've had many boyfriends and many relationships, but they never got married. They never got married. And you say, why? They're beautiful. There's something about the female that doesn't understand her worth. And the guy knows that. Sit on his forehead, sound like Felicio. Exactly. That's what he's saying, mind over matter. Yeah, you got to know yourself. Women, you have these gifts. And that's why sometimes when I see women or in and out of relationships and having free sex and then crying that they have no luck with men, I'm thinking, because you're giving away that special thing, that bargaining chip, that I sit and talk to my daughter all the time. And sometimes she's in situations where, you know, people are doing certain things and she's saying to herself, am I being stupid or unrealistic about having these expectations? And I would tell her all the time, don't you dare devalue your worth. You stick to your guns, because there's a right person waiting for you. There's a right person who will appreciate you when he finds you, with these values in this time. I remember a friend of mine, when I was single, saying, and I was feeling, for a moment, I was thinking, oh my goodness. She said, the time when you used to date, when you were younger, like 16 years old, you met your first person, and then the way the person pursued you and chased after you. And I never had sex until I got married as a 22-year-old. And she says, it's not going to happen again. Now that I was 30, she was saying, she said, you're not going to meet anybody who's going to be willing to wait for you anymore. It doesn't work that way anymore. And I'm thinking to myself, if I choose not to wait, it should be my choice. But I'm not going to go on someone pressuring me to get into an intimate situation, and to get into an intimate situation without any commitment. And as old as I am now, I'm still very much that. That's part of the secret, to know who you are, to demand the respect from the person. Command it, as a matter of fact, not demand, command that respect, and to know your value. If you want to wait and you say, I want someone who is prepared to wait with me to get to know me better, or if you want to meet someone and you want to engage in physical activities right away, it's always a personal choice. But understand that there's risk. There's risk in getting involved with persons too soon. Getting involved with person in an intimate situation, it's risky. So you have to know and test the other person to see if they have these values too. Because I refuse to believe that all men just want to have sex and they have no control. That's not true. That's not true. That is not true. There are men who behave like women when it comes to sex. There are men who, even when they're in intimate situation, they're so cautious about not getting anybody pregnant. There are men who will not just sleep with every female because she presents herself. There are still men who will say no to a beautiful woman. People think that's impossible. It's not. There are guys who still will say, no, I'm not interested in doing this. And if you tell your daughter or you tell your female friends that, find a guy who is interested in understanding your mind and knowing you, intimacy is something that will come eventually. So sometimes I hear young people say, oh, all guys cheat, all men cheat, and this and that. I was having a conversation with a female, and she was saying, all men cheat. And I was offended by that. I said, no, all men have the potential to cheat, but not all men cheat. Because when they know what they've got to lose, sometimes they would probably want to cheat. Maybe they'd want to go out on their partner. But when they think about what they have to lose, that reins them in. Some men won't cheat because they don't want to get disease. Some men don't want to risk their marriage because they know what they have and they know they'll lose it. So that will rein them in. And just like all women can cheat too, but women choose not to. But there are many women who cheat as well. So not just men. Anyway, guys, it's almost 2 hours. I think this is the longest I've ever been on. Come out here to talk about the little fellow that married to that woman and now he's going to be sent home. But folks I guess people don't really want to talk about that too much. And so it branched off into something else. Very interesting. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. I was actually here very bored and trying to take my mind off all this stuff that I have to do. And then decided I'd come on. Divine Rebel, Apple, thank you so much, Miss Nia. I don't know why I come here and pose every time because I can't see properly. I need to get my glasses and I always forget. Marcia. Listen, there is 9, I don't know, something is wrong with me because there's 9 people here and I feel like I'm sitting in a room with 1,000 people. The energy that you guys bring, Divine Rebel, is so welcome. Sometimes I wonder if I have more people joining my live, what that would be like, because it feels so overwhelming. Just having 9 people here feels like I got 100. I don't know. I always think, I think quality as opposed to quantity. Junior, thank you for joining me. I always live my life that way. Quality over quantity. So if I'm going to have 1,000 people here and they're fighting and they're being disrespectful and they're just nasty, I would rather have my 11 people here join me and we can conversate. We can have conversations, and that makes me happy. Marcia, thank you so much. If I leave you out, it's not intentional. Teresa, she's gone. Rowan, Mind Over Matter. Miss Nia, we'll do this again. Like I said before, Teresa, I think she's gone as well. She has to go to work. If you have a topic that you want us to discuss, just shoot me an email, jbrown. Oh, sorry. That was my personal. It's jennyren@gmail.com. jennyren@gmail, or under any video, because usually my comments will pop up throughout the day and I'll check sometimes. If you have a topic that you want us to talk about, if something is on your mind, I'm working on getting a phone set up so that we can have conversations on the phone as well. Beville, bless up yourself. I'm sure there are many more people who choose to stay quiet and don't really say anything. Natalie, I don't know if she's still here. Bless up yourself, Natalie. Anyone who joined me, and even if you didn't make a comment and I don't know who you are or you're here, thank you so much for joining. Stay blessed, everybody. Have a wonderful night. Until next time. Bless up, Andrew. I don't know if you're still here. Bless up, bless up, bless up.